knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're an Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I would slap you.
Go ahead, make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Welcome back to the third hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show. Thank you so much for being with me. Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I want to go back to the George Zimmerman situation and Trayvon Martin down in Florida. I said from day one that this situation is not what it appears to be. And I said that whenever Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Louis Farrakhan, the New Black Panther Party, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, Urban League, and these black preachers are involved in something, go the other way. Because they are always, I can't think of one time that they were on the side of good. They are always on the side of evil. Always on the side of evil. Always. And I said that this situation down, the reason that these folks are down in Florida concerning Trayvon Martin's situation is not about Trayvon Martin, but about an opportunity to gain power and wealth for themselves and to rile up Black America in order to get them to re-elect Barack Obama. I said that. I said that this situation is not what it seems. And I even questioned Trayvon Martin's parents. I know they were out there giving drama, lying, pretending that he was a little boy. He was a child. I even questioned Trayvon Martin's father and mother for getting involved with Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton said that Trayvon's parents and the lawyer invited him to get involved. So I'm saying, there's much more to this story. Trayvon, and then they showed this little picture of Trayvon when he was a little kid, trying to act like that's who he was when this whole incident went down with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. Another deception. Isn't that something? Another deception. And I'm going to prove it to you today. Those people are deceiving, wicked black people. They're not on the side of good. And even Trayvon's mother said something like, oh, praise the Lord. I just thank God that God is giving us some solutions here. Finally, someone is answering. George Zimmerman is going to jail. Praise the Lord. That woman know how bad her boy was. She knew that. And it's unfortunate, folks, but that's the way it is because most Black Americans have not been repudiated. White folks are afraid to repudiate them. They are afraid to tell Black people the truth. And most Black people are not getting the truth in their homes because 70% of Black children are born out of wedlock. So they're not getting the truth in their homes. The Black churches are not going to tell Black people the truth for fear of losing the congregation and losing the money and power. The Black politicians are definitely not going to tell Black people the truth because they need the power and the votes. And the Democratic Party, no way. Black people have been paid for, bought, paid in full. Started with Lyndon B. Johnson for the Democratic Party, for the votes in the Democratic Party. So they're not going to tell the truth. So it's up to me. I got to tell Black people the truth. I got to tell them the truth. And I knew that this situation down in Florida would turn out the way that it's turning out. There's more to the story. And if you notice, all of a sudden, everybody kind of faded away. The liberal media faded away. Jackson and Sharpton and the NAACP went back to their corners. The hoods fell off their heads. And all of a sudden, MSNBC stopped talking about it. Now we know why. And I'm going to present the evidence to you today in this hour. And I'll take your phone calls on this, whether you agree or disagree with me. We saw the same identical situation, except the incidents were a little different. But the situation were the same. The same wicked people showed up. Even the Black college students rallying and protesting, as they did in Florida. We saw it in the Duke lacrosse case. Remember when the out of wedlock baby having black stripper woman accused the Duke lacrosse white guys of raping her or whatever? Her name was Crystal Mangung. And she, they raped me. They raped me. Oh. And Sharpton and Jackson and the same bunch of race hustlers ran over there. The black college students were protesting and talking about the Black Panther Party threatening and doing their thing. Come to find out the stripper lied. And Jackson offered her a scholarship and all that kind of stuff. Found out the girl lied. They collected money and went back home. And no apology to the Duke lacrosse boys or their families or anything. No apology necessary. And then we saw it with the Gina 6, where some white boys accused of hanging a noose on a campus, their high school campus, and black boys were threatening and so on and so on. Find out that was a lie. They didn't apologize to that white family. Went right back, collected money from the silly blacks who were there, went back to their corner. Well, the same thing is happening here. What would it take to wake you up, Black Americans, and stop following these folks and take control of your own lives, thinking for yourself and doing what's right? What would it take for you to be born again of God? What would it take? And what would it take, white Americans, for you to get over your fear of telling black people the truth? When will you love them enough that you would tell them the truth and allow them to have a hissy fit about that truth? And then some of them would finally get over. How can you love God, white Americans, and be afraid to tell your enemy the truth? And yes, black people are the enemies of white folks because most black people are racist toward white people. Black people have been brainwashed, dumbed down. That's why even when Barack Obama has evolved from the closet and said that he supports same-sex marriage, some blacks would still vote for him, but those who don't will stay home rather than voting for Romney, because Romney is somewhat on the side of good. He doesn't support same-sex marriage. And so when will you stand up for truth? But this is why I tell black Americans, stop overreacting to these race hustlers and the liberal media. The situation is not what it seems when they are involved. They are children of Satan. It's impossible for them to be on the side of good and be honest men and women. So they're never going to be on the side. This stupid woman down in Florida that wears the hat, the congresswoman, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, I cannot think of her name, Frederica Wilson, just a nutcase. Trayvon Martin was hunted down. I'm like, go sit down and take that stupid hat off, lady. And speaking of the woman, Crystal, in the Duke lacrosse situation, the stripper, out of wedlock baby mama stripper, according to the Durham Police Department reports, her last name is Magum, stabbed Reginald Day, age 46, with a kitchen knife, inflicting serious injuries on this guy. And so she may be in jail somewhere. If not, she should be. And I would warn the men, you better stay away from that woman. But anyway, Jackson and everybody went back to their hellhole to wait for another white on black situation. I want to play for you, and then I take your calls. Joyce Zimmerman's medical report showed broken nose and lacerations after Trayvon Martin shooting. ABC News report about injuries Zimmerman sustained. Here it is.
There is a new twist now in the Trayvon Martin case. Medical reports from the morning after the unarmed teen was shot demonstrate that George Zimmerman had been roughed up with several injuries to his head. ABC's Matt Gutman has the latest from Sanford, Florida. And Matt, these reports certainly seem to bolster Zimmerman's defense.
That's right, George. On the face of it, they do. Zimmerman had always claimed that this was a life and death struggle, but those medical reports also show that those injuries, the broken nose, the cuts to the back of the head, were not severe enough for him to be hospitalized or require stitches.
Sources tell ABC News and WFTV that Trayvon Martin's autopsy shows injuries to his knuckles, that his hands were bloodied, the skin broken. Evidence sources say which George Zimmerman's attorneys will use to describe what they call the ferocity of the attack against him, causing him to fight for his life the night he shot and killed Martin. ABC News has learned Zimmerman's injuries that night were also more severe than previously reported. This 3-page medical report obtained exclusively by ABC News shows Zimmerman suffered a closed fracture broken nose, black eyes, a swollen lip, and a pair of gashes on the back of his head. Gashes visible in this photograph, taken just moments after the shooting and also obtained exclusively by ABC News.
And this report goes on to say Zimmerman felt nauseous when he thought about the violence of that night.
But the key question, say analysts, is who started the fight.
There's no question these documented injuries help Zimmerman's case. But the fundamental legal question remains, who was the aggressor?
Zimmerman reportedly turned down medical treatment at the scene of the shooting February 26th. In this surveillance video taken barely an hour later, Zimmerman is seen questioned by police. The bleeding from his head apparently had stopped. The next day, Zimmerman went to his doctor. In the detailed report, she notes he did not require stitches and did not have a concussion. The medical records also reveal more about Zimmerman's mental state. Zimmerman telling the doctor that he felt nausea when, quote, thinking about the violence that night.
And Robin, Zimmerman's family has said that he was crying for days after the shooting. And in that medical report, his doctor says it was, quote, imperative for him to see his psychologist. Zimmerman had been prescribed Adderall, apparently for ADHD.
Wow. You know what I was thinking during that report? It's so wicked. These black people, the liberal media and the blacks who were down there insisted that this man go to prison and receive the death sentence. You know what's so sad? That they could have this man put to death to get the political clout that they want, to get Obama back reelected. They could have this man, George Zimmerman, put to death and not feel a thing about it. It doesn't matter that he could have been defending himself, but they will have him put to death. Just think about that. Think about the wickedness of these people, pretending that they care. Even the Attorney General got involved, Eric Holder, the FBI calling it a hate crime. And this woman that I mentioned down, this congresswoman from Florida, Frederica, Trayvon was hunted down like a dog. I hope that heifer rot in hell. And all those black so-called politicians and folks who were involved, they need to rot in hell. They should be held bound. They're willing to sacrifice this man's life, George Zimmerman's life, to get political clout. Can it get any worse than that? And by the way, George Zimmerman's grandfather or great-grandfather, one of those grandfather, I believe his mother's father was a black man. And so I couldn't help but wonder if Barack Obama had a boy, a baby boy, would it look like George Zimmerman's grandfather and Trayvon? Can it get any worse? When I come back, I'm coming straight back to the cause. I want to hear your opinion about this now, especially from those black people who are, oh, this is racism. This is hate crime. We are under attack.
The truth is kept secret. It's swept under the rug. If you never know truth, then you never know love. What's the love, y'all? Come on. I don't know. What's the truth, y'all? Come on. I don't know. What's the love, y'all?
People killing, people dying, children hurt, and you hear them crying.
I want America to see this sweet young boy who was hunted down like a dog, shot in the street, and his killer is still at large.
Wow, that was Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, I believe, out of Florida, their Congressional Black Caucus member. Isn't that an evil woman? What a witch. That is evil, folks. But those are the type of people who are in control of most black people. And they use this type of stuff to keep black Americans angry, dumbed down, and brainwashed. Because as long as you can keep people angry, you can control them. I remember when this whole thing broke about George and Trayvon, I'm like, no, wait, folks, don't go with it. And I was called every name in the book. I said, look at the picture of Trayvon. He's not some little innocent child tiptoeing through the tulips. Now the blacks are quiet on it. They're lost for words. They will not, I guarantee you, not one will come back and apologize and say, you know what, I was wrong. They're just going to wait for another white on black situation. That's all. We've seen it over and over, sometimes over again. Sometimes you got to open your eyes and accept what is And what is that these people are evil. And woe unto the person who called good evil and evil good. It's happening more and more in the black community. Where is Representative Bobby Rush? Remember he wore a hoodie for Trayvon Martin on the House floor, and he had to be escorted off the floor because he violated the no-hat rule? Where is he now? Is he coming back and apologize to America, to George Zimmerman's family? And George is in hiding right now. His family are threatened every day. Will the new Black Panther Party apologize for calling for bloodshed of white folks? And then they'll make some other statements I'm going to get to. Here's that report. This is from WFTV, talking about the fact that his great-grandfather is a black man. That's number 3, Andre B.
WFTV legal analyst Bill Schaefer says that is unlikely based on the evidence we've heard so far.
At this juncture, it looks like George Zimmerman has mentored African-American youths and that he has an African-American relative in his family.
This photograph recently surfaced, which is said to show Zimmerman's mother in the arms of her grandfather, Zimmerman's great-grandfather, who was African-American. Zimmerman's mother testified at his bond hearing that she has met the African-American child whom he mentored and that he even risked his safety in a dangerous neighborhood to do it because he did not want to abandon the child. Now, state prosecutors say Zimmerman gave several inconsistent statements to Sanford police about what happened the night he shot and killed Trayvon Martin. Well, now Zimmerman's attorney will see just what those inconsistencies are, and hopefully we will see them soon as well.
Are you going to come back, black folks, and apologize? Are you going to come on the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show and say that you were wrong? Or are you just going to go back to your little hellhole and wait for another white-on-black situation like you did in the Duke lacrosse case, the Gina 6, and Lord knows what else? We saw that with Al Sharpton with the Tawana Brawley situation when the white cops who were falsely accused by some little black woman found out she lied. Al Sharpton, as far as I know, never outrightly apologized for that. And I wonder, what do you think will be your outcome, black Americans, if you don't start apologizing for being wrong? I want to play for you Trayvon Martin's autopsy, which shows that Trayvon Martin had injuries to his knuckles. Remember George said Trayvon beat him? Trayvon had injuries to his knuckles, which fit with Zimmerman's story.
With 6 major developments into the death of Trayvon Martin, only Eyewitness News has confirmed that autopsy results show Trayvon had injuries to his knuckles when he died.
And that could support George Zimmerman's claim that Trayvon beat him up before Zimmerman shot and killed him. Channel 9's Kathy Bellich is live in Seminole County tonight. And Kathy, this comes as Zimmerman's attorney is going over some other evidence in the case.
Yeah, and Zimmerman's lawyer would not comment on the autopsy evidence, which sheds more light on the deadly shooting here at the retreat at Twin Lakes. But our legal analyst says it's better for the defense than it is for the prosecution. Channel 9 has learned that the medical examiner found only 2 injuries on 17-year-old Trayvon Martin's body, his fatal gunshot wound and broken skin on his knuckles. WFTV legal analyst Bill Schaefer says when you compare Martin's non-fatal injury with shooter George Zimmerman's bloody head wounds, that autopsy evidence is better for the defense.
It goes along with Zimmerman's story that he acted in self-defense because he was getting beat up by Trayvon Martin.
I don't hear any apologies. Let me be quiet for a moment. See, maybe I'm speaking too loud. I don't hear any apologies from the black college students who marched from the university to downtown or wherever they went to. I don't hear the apologies from the MSNBC, the liberal media. Where are the apologies from the hoodies, the rappers? Where are the apologies for on behalf of George Zimmerman? See the evil in these folks? Our battle is good versus evil. The defense is now looking through the evidence
The injury to Martin's knuckle also fits with Zimmerman's story that before he shot and killed Martin, Martin punched him and broke his nose, knocked him to the ground, and slammed his head on the sidewalk. But Schaefer says there could be another explanation for Trayvon's knuckle injury.
It could be consistent with Trayvon either trying to get away or defending himself.
Zimmerman shot and killed the unarmed teenager almost 3 months ago after calling 911, reporting that the teenager was acting suspiciously and like he was on drugs. He said the teenager threw the first punch and that he opened fire in self-defense after his screams for help went unanswered. The FBI was not able to determine whether it was Zimmerman or Martin who could be heard crying out for help in 911 calls. Now, the defense is trying to decide which evidence it wants a judge to keep confidential before we get a chance to see what was just released to the defense. And we're being told, though, we could see it within a week or so.
Isn't that something? And yet, no apologies. I told you it was reported that Trayvon Martin was found to have a marijuana pipe in his backpack, traces of marijuana in a little plastic bag. He had these big gold teeth in his mouth. Silver or gold, whatever color they were. He was 6'3", had been expelled from school for graffiti on walls and things like that. There wasn't and plus his parents are not together. This guy wasn't some little innocent baby picture with a little red shirt on and a nice little silent smile. That's deception that they try. And so it says that they had something to hide. Where is common sense? Tattoos everywhere, Trayvon did. And did I tell you that he had a Twitter account named @NoLimitNigga? This is some little innocent child tiptoeing to the tulips. Some white man comes along and kill him for no reason. As a result of all this stuff going on, white people are under attack around the country by black people.